Happy New Year, 2020. What a year this has been for all of us. Some may call it bad, but for me, it's been one of the best years of my life. Growing up, Mom and Dad taught me to look on the bright side of things and not always dwell on the negative. While 2020 has been unique for all of us, it is not unique in American history. I was recently looking through some letters from 1918 when my grandfather was serving in the Army in the summer of 18. Speaking of being at Camp Gordon out in the area we now call Peachtree DeKalb Airport, where the soldiers were quarantined at one end of the base because of Spanish influenza. They had to wear masks. They couldn't attend baseball games. They could not even attend church. If you read the AJC articles of Thanksgiving of 1918, you can find that the articles would be almost parallel to the articles that were written for Thanksgiving of 2020. So, we've been through an interesting and traumatic year, but it has not been all bad. For the three of us, Ann, Sheila, and myself, our year started off on January 1st, 2020, in London, England, with Parkview Band and Color Guard, while Ann was participating in the London New Year Day Parade. That was a fascinating event. Fortunately, God let us be home from Europe before any travel restrictions were imposed. Once the pandemic was declared in March, we were fortunate that Sheila was able to work from home and very grateful that the Gwinnett County Public Schools had done much trial practice with digital learning to finish out the school year for that year. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Much has been learned about digital learning and will be used in the future. During the month of June, Ann had the wonderful opportunity to spend a month with her cousins and grandparents in West Virginia and helping out on the small farm where they raise goats and chickens. Sheila and I also had the opportunity to be in West Virginia for a week with them when it came time to pick her up. September, we had the opportunity to celebrate my mother's homegoing. Some may call this a loss, and it may be sad, but Mom had taught us over and over in the weeks before she passed, please don't be sad. I want you not to be sad. We had one of the most uplifting and wonderful funeral services that we could have ever had, and joy of her celebration of her homecoming. In fact, after the service was over, the funeral director came to me and said, David, in my 45 years of being a funeral director, that was the best, most uplifting service that I had ever seen. So, as 2020 has unfolded, the little mission station that I managed for the last 5 years has had its best year. Ann has celebrated her 16th birthday and been enjoying learning to drive. We've had a wonderful Christmas celebrated here at home this year. As we close out 2020, let us remember to look for the good that we can find. As the quilter makes a quilt one stitch at a time, eventually it makes a very beautiful quilt. Let us remember that God reminds us that in His time, He makes all things beautiful. Or as Paul reminds us in Romans, God makes all things work together for good. So, as we close out this year and start another 365-day unit we call 2021, let us look to God and look for the good in the year that comes before us. Happy New Year.